Welcome to VSP News Online for Thursday, August the 27th. I'm Charles Webb. During the past year, the Bermuda Health Council has persuaded a number of delinquent employers to cough up $1.6 million in health insurance premiums and restore coverage for over 2,500 employees. Acting CEO Tawana Wedderburn and Compliance Officer Ian Cameron had every reason to be pleased with these results when they spoke to Brian Darby.
We've been tracking quite aggressively, I would say, for the last year and a half. Prior to that, we were tracking on an annual basis. And about a year and a half ago, we started to track on a monthly basis as we began to see an increase in the number of employees coming to our offices to say, we do not have insurance coverage. This was particularly more pronounced when someone had a major catastrophic event, such as a road traffic accident or some other condition that resulted in them receiving care and learning at that time that they did not have coverage. It is a shocker. And so one of the things that we began to do in our tracking is obviously monitoring and liaising and collaborating with insurers to say, who are employers who may not be providing insurance coverage for their employees? And so we track the number of policies that are on hold and the number of policies that have been terminated. And based on that, my colleague, our compliance officer, Ian Cameron, would then follow up with those employers and worked with them to ensure that their employees receive coverage. And Brian, I would say to you that first off, we have to commend employers, because in this current economic climate, there are a number of employers who are having great difficulty. They come and they speak with us, and we tend to work with and partner with insurers to ensure that the employers can receive and does have options that are available to them that may be more cost effective. So I have to commend employers in the first instance, because they are reaching out to us, and they do, by and large, understand their obligations.
When we get the reported data from the insurers, and through our interventions, contacting the employers to, number one, confirm that the policy is indeed inactive and what steps have been taken to make that policy current, in average, 75% of those employers end up reenacting their policies. That's a significant, pretty instant, yes. Or have already made arrangements to establish a payment plan with the insurers to make that policy current.
Yeah, it's just a wake-up call, isn't it?
It is a wake-up call. It's also for the employers to know that they are being monitored, because in the past this was always a hidden thing. You know, employees wouldn't find out that their policy was inactive until which time they went to receive service, and then of course a practitioner would inform them that they do not have health insurance coverage. That leads me to one of our other mechanisms that we put in place, or resource I should say, as far as posting the names of non-compliant employers on our BHEC website, the Health Council's website, as an added resource to employees to be able to know the status of their policy.
Pity to have to do that.
It's a pity, but it goes away in empowering the employees themselves.
As the winners of last year's Future Agro Challenge, the World Championship for Innovators, Visionaries and Leaders, which took place at Athens, Greece, entrepreneur and engineer Connor Burns and his team made it to the White House and with a meeting with President Obama. But Burns is not letting the grass grow under his feet. He sees future innovative opportunities for Bermuda in the areas of farming and fuel.
Last year we won based on the concept of using drones in agriculture, and a lot of that was data capture, especially in the infrared spectrum. And we basically took that concept, presented it, and showed how it could be very beneficial to farmers in increasing their crop yields by having a more efficient farm. So the key concepts were that we could do terrain mapping, which is a 3D model of the ground, as well as take different frequencies of light and pick out whether we can see pests or if it's missing water or certain fertilizers, that type of thing. And we can help the farmer make better decisions in keeping their crops healthy and growing strong. Where we are today is we've taken that concept and we've moved to Canada, and what we're doing right now is working with a few PhDs and a couple precision agricultural companies to implement this, and we're doing a bunch of demonstrations in big, 100-hectare fields of corn and wheat and all sorts to see how beneficial it is and how we can get the farmers to use our technology.
Now, given that we don't have that type of space, how could this type of technology be applicable to Bermuda?
Drones could be used in Bermuda in a marginal way. Some of the fields here are not as big as they are overseas, but there's still room for that type of aerial mapping to help farmers figure out what different parts of their field could use going forward. In terms of Bermuda, it's food security. So the more that we can do here on island, it's going to benefit all of us. It's going to make our food cheaper, and if anything goes wrong with our shipping lines or hurricanes or that type of thing, we will have more food here on island to eat, and basically more educated farmers ready to grow something bigger and better.
Now, are you a part of moving us in that direction?
I hope to be. We definitely did some demonstrations here last year. I do want to be part of some of the more educational sides, and we were looking into doing a hydroponic system in Bermuda for a whole range of vegetables. And I think that's the way to go, is a technologically advanced agricultural system here.
Stepping out of the box, how do you see this being expanded into, say, providing fuel for Bermuda?
I do think there's a way to get into the energy sector with a bit of farming and agriculture, and using the horticultural waste that we have in order to burn and make fuel and heat for creating electricity. So that could benefit us, especially with facilities like Tynes Bay.
Now, are you optimistic that this might happen in the near or far future?
I am optimistic that once the white papers and stuff come out for the energy sector in Bermuda, this could be definitely a viable option.
If you heard our story about Burn News and Jason Hayward, you will want to hear this follow-up from Brian Darby.
The Burn News online news service has informed us that, contrary to what was reported on our news overnight, they have not restored the right for their readers to supply comments on matters concerning Jason Hayward, president of the BPSU, and the People's Campaign's reaction to his being sued for defamation by Finance Minister Bob Richards. It transpires that Burn News were approached by a lawyer representing Mr. Hayward, who requested the ban, and the news service said it agreed to that course of action. Our story also said the issue had caused a row behind the scenes, and in view of the veracity of our source, who is closely connected with the PLP, we stand by that comment and offer our sympathy to Burn News for being put in this invidious position. Brian Darby reporting for VSP News.
Government has expressed itself satisfied with this week's Supreme Court ruling that struck out several legal claims linked to the controversial waterfront lease that it was forced to declare null and void. Chris Lodge has our report.
In a statement last night, the government also noted that Chief Justice Ian Caverly found the claims from developer Michael McLean an abuse of process and a gross misuse of the constitutional processes of the court. This week's ruling struck out claims that the voiding of the lease was unconstitutional, with the court finding the developers had abandoned their right to challenge the validity of the voiding process and were bound by their choice to pursue compensation. The government spokeswoman also noted that the allegations made by developer Mr. McLean that 3 government ministers, Senator Michael Fay, Craig Cannonier and Mark Pettingill, had solicited bribes were both strenuously denied by the ministers and found by the courts to have no relevance to the application. The spokeswoman concluding, the result of this judgment is that the matters relating to the waterfront development will return to the arbitral process where they belong, and it's hoped that the matter can be resolved promptly. I'm Chris Lodge, VSB News.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
The Ministry of Public Works is hard at work on a thorny problem, the regular collection of garbage. Over the past months, residents have been putting out their trash on designated days, only find it to be uncollected the next day, and sometimes even the next. Public Works Minister Craig Cannonier says the problem is being addressed, and he has this explanation.
The challenge that we've been having with waste management and trash being picked up as timely as we'd like for it to be is maintenance. And that maintenance challenge has led to another challenge, and that is ensuring that we have enough trucks on the road to facilitate picking up on time. With the maintenance challenges that we're having, some of our fleet is very old, 20 years plus, so keeping up with the parts and the likes over the last couple of years has been a real challenge. That now is coming to fruition. At optimum, we'd like to be operating at 12 trucks per day. That's the ideal number, but we have not been able to maintain those numbers because of maintenance. On the trucks that we purchased back in 2000, I believe 12 and 13, when they were purchased, these new trucks, there is a challenge also with them. They are great for when it comes to the exhaust and being environmentally friendly. However, the challenge is that they have engines that are to be running at speeds that are much higher than what we have in Bermuda, and so that has led to issues that we are having with maintenance as well. So with the new fleet, we're having maintenance challenges, and with the old fleet. The solution to this, of course, is to get back to that magic number of 12 trucks per day so that we can ensure that trash is being picked up on time. With what is happening now, if we do not get to an area on time, say for instance if we're in the west on Monday, if we do not finish all zones, we will follow up on the Tuesday to finish those zones up before we get to the east. So our team has been really good about getting out. You can see the trucks doing overtime on a regular basis, out sometimes 6 o'clock in the evening, ensuring that we do get the trash picked up. On those times that we are a bit late in getting to it, we're asking for the public to continue to be patient as we work through these maintenance issues. I have sat down with the team as of last week, looking for a comprehensive package and plan on how we resolve this, and part of that also is to purchase 1 or 2 more trucks, and so we're also going forward with that.
The speed at which a local contractor erected a new main ticket booth at the National Sports Center over the past week caught our attention and encouraged us to meet Nathan Brown, project manager for Insulcon Limited. It turned out that the materials being used were state-of-the-art and a cost-saving alternative to traditional labor-intensive building methods.
It's expanded polystyrene. It's about 2 5/8 inches on either side with a concrete core, held together by plastic webbing, which also provides a rebar structure. The effectiveness of it really is that it's labor efficient, it's energy efficient. There's a lot of benefits to using it: moisture, damp proof. But the main components what we feel for Bermuda would be the labor savings, the labor efficiency of putting it together, as well as the construction time, the total construction time. A lot of the other trades that are involved in this project will take less time, specifically the electrical, the plumbing. They don't have to chip away concrete at the end of the day. They can just cut into the foam. For instance, the electrician was here on Monday, I believe, and it was about an hour and a half of work for him to get all the wiring done. So that part of it. Then at the end of the day, the energy efficiency. It should be cutting your air conditioning bills up to 30 to 40% from what they are now. So you should be spending less money on electricity. Your air conditioner would not have to be running as often. As well as the damp proofing. You should not have moisture coming through your walls, eliminating a lot of problems that Bermudians have with moisture on their walls. It's just an overall efficient product from start to finish, construction-wise, as well as energy-wise at the end of the day.
What about cost? It's obviously a significant cost reduction, is it?
In certain areas, if you compare certain things, for instance, the materials themselves, we bring them in from the U.S. or Canada, depending on the timing of things. They're more expensive to bring in than traditional block because the block is made here more readily. But the labor savings balances it all out, especially when you're looking at the stage we're at now. The labor savings, it's all pretty even with what our construction costs would be right now.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
The Bermuda Olympic Association today has announced the team for the upcoming Youth Commonwealth Games. 4 athletes will fly the Bermuda flag in 2 sports. They are in athletics, David Darrow, Tajay Taylor, Tiara DeRosa, and in squash, Susanna Armano. Cal Simons is the chef de mission, and he is looking forward to the event.
First, let me say, Earl, that it's a privilege for me to serve the BOA in Bermuda. As the chef, my role is to make sure that the athletes have everything they need, the officials that are traveling with the athletes have everything they need to work with them, and the organizers of the Youth Commonwealth Games. We met earlier this month, and I said to them that this is going to be an opportunity for them to kind of put their name up against some of the best junior youth competitors in the Commonwealth. I was fortunate enough to go in 2011 to the Isle of Man, and I saw that competition then. And I feel strongly that this is going to be a very eye-opening experience for these young athletes.
The next phase of the National Sports Center becoming a user-friendly facility is almost complete, with the erecting of a booth for information, among other things. The facility CEO, Bernie Esbal, explains more.
Really what it's set up for, Earl, is a welcoming site. We need an information area. We need accessible information for people who are wanting information about the National Sports Center. We presently don't really have anywhere that works well. Everything that we have is really out of the way. The new little building that we've constructed, or in the process of constructing, is right by our main parking lots, very accessible for everyone. So if a person has a question, they've got the ability to ask it and get it answered right there. We're also, of course, being able to control the site a lot better. We'll be able to handle special events for parking lots. We'll be able to make it easier to enter and provide information for people in terms of the field hockey, the track area, the pitches, and of course the swimming pool. So it's really about great welcoming and a reception building.
Benjamin Jones and Cairo Morton continue representing Bermuda at the 2015 ITF, GSDF Caribbean 12 and Under Cotex Team Championships in Curacao, along with coach Javon Witter. In the main draw, Bermuda took on Curaçao's #1 team. In the first singles match, Morton went down to Guliaka Bonjon 6-love, 6-3. In the second match, Jones lost to Noah Martes 7-5, 6-love. With speculation mounting who will replace Andrew Bascom as the head coach of the Devonshire Cougars, we sought the information from the Devonshire Recreation Club president, Nadine Henry.
I think that many have heard that we are in the process of rebuilding the club as a whole, revitalizing many of our sports programs, and of course one of the most important is the football program. So starting out this year, we've had several former players return to assist us with this project, and we can now say that the new director of football, and this is a new post to Devonshire Recreation Club, will be Kevin, Coach KJ Simpson Jr. Our head coach for the Premier team is Kwame Steve. We're very excited. He is definitely greatly supported by assistant coach Omar Butterfield. And then we have team manager, none other than Gary Tuberacus Mallory.
The Bermuda Cricket Board and Shivers Wriggles today announced Kevon Fubler as the Shivers Cricketer of the Week. Making today's announcement was Neil Spate of the Bermuda Cricket Board.
Things are really heating up in the Premier League. There are 7 teams and 4 of them are in jeopardy of being relegated. 2 clubs go down, so Flats, Willocuts, Somerset and Cleveland are all vying at an intense stage of the season. So it's no doubt this weekend just gone, when Willocuts played against Cleveland, it was going to be a hard-fought encounter. During the match, Kevon Fubler, the left-arm spinner, had an opportunity when he noticed Aaron Adams had stepped out of his ground as a non-striker to run him out. And as many of you may know, that is within the laws, but against the spirit of the game. And despite the intense pressure of the game and what he could have done by running him out, he chose to follow the Gentleman's Act and gave Aaron a warning for being out of his ground. So for that act of that sportsmanship, Kevon Fubler is the Shivers Sportsman of the Week for Week 11.
Meanwhile, Dowray Rollins continue representing London and East Region Under-17s as they took on the Under-17 Southwest Region squad at the National Cricket Performance Centre in the UK. Rollins and his teammate recorded a 4-wicket victory. The Southwest batted first and scored 232 all out. Rollins returned bowling figures of 8 overs for 40 runs. In reply, Rollins and his London and Eastern Region Under-17 teammates scored 234 for 6. Rollins scored 1 run batting at number 6 and was at the wicket when the score was crossed. 23 boats went to the start line for race day 17 of the Wednesday night sailing series that begins and ends in the Hamilton Harbor. Crossfire crossed the line first with a time of 1:07.24 and with the corrected time of 1:13.57 saw them finish third on the night. Nasty Medicine was the second boat to cross the line, clocking a time of 1:08.57 and with their corrected time of 1:15.34 saw them finish seventh on the night. The third boat to cross the line on the night was Smokin', clocking 1:17.56, and with the corrected time of 1:12.03 saw them finish first on the night. Mayhem was the second boat on the night with a corrected time of 1:13.12 after recording a time of 1:18.21, while Bullshot was fourth on the night with a corrected time of 1:14.01. Peppercorn was fifth on the night with a corrected time of 1:14.28. Bermuda will be represented at the UCI Road World Championships Under-23 race for the first time since Tyler Butterfield competed in 2005. The UCI World Road Race Championships will run from September 19th through to the 27th. At the August 15th rankings, which are the cutoff for qualifications for the World Championships, Bermuda was ranked 11th in the Americas, missing the automatic spot for the top 10. Dominique Mayo was ranked 55th in the under-23s in the Americas, earning a spot for Bermuda at the championships, which will take place in Richmond, Virginia. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Friday, August the 28th, it will be mostly sunny. Winds will be westerly and light. We're expecting a high near 86 and a low near 77. This weather forecast is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Well, thank you for watching VSB News Online for Thursday, August the 27th. I'm Charles Webb.